Thank you. I don't know how I'm going to follow that. Isn't it great to have our choir back? All right, I need to be able to read my notes here. All right. So there's a man who's lost at sea, and he's struggling to keep his head above the waves. And along comes a fisherman in a little boat, and the fisherman reaches out his hand and says, "Here, grab on, I'll save you." But the man says, "No, thanks. God will save me." So the fisherman says, "Okay," and he moves along. So then along comes a family on a catamaran, and they see this man flailing in the waves. And they say, "Here, we have this life preserver we can throw out to you." But the man says, "No thanks. God will save me." Then along comes a group of executives on a yacht. And they say, "Hey, we have this inflatable life raft here. We can send it out to you, and you can come aboard our yacht and hang out with us for the day." But the man says, "No thanks. God will save me." So the man drowns. And he gets up to heaven, and he says to God, "God, why didn't you save me? I believed in you. I trusted you. I waited for you. Why didn't you save me?" And God looks at this man, his beloved child, with love and compassion in his eyes, and he says, "I sent you 3 boats, you dummy." We're hoping the magic's going to work. There we go. My God, why have you forsaken me?" Out of the 7 recorded sayings of Jesus on the cross, I think this is the one that is the easiest to relate to. My God, why have you forsaken me? My God, why didn't you save me? Because how often is it in our own lives that we are looking to someone or something outside of ourselves to rescue us from a situation? You know, what's interesting about this verse in Hebrew, the way Jesus would have said it, it's "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani." "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani." My God, why have you forsaken me? Here's the interesting twist. It feels like this cry of desperation that even Jesus, in his most terrible moment of crucifixion, had doubts. But back then, the scriptures didn't have book names and verse numbers. He couldn't say John 3:14. Well, that one wasn't written yet. He couldn't even reference his sacred scriptures from the Jewish tradition that way. The way that they referenced their scriptures was by saying the first line of that scripture. "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani" is the beginning of Psalm 22, which is a psalm that specifically references being in a crucifixion moment. It even talks about hands and feet being pierced and lots being cast for the man's garments, and it is a psalm that ends in hope. That no matter what I face, I can overcome because God within me gives me strength. In Romans 6:4, it says, "Just as Christ was raised from the dead, so too you may live a new life." And in 2 Corinthians 5:17, "Through the light in you, there is born a new creation. Everything old has passed away. Everything is new." So today we're exploring the metaphysics of the Easter story. Not a story that happened one time to someone a long time ago, but a story that has deep spiritual meaning for us in our lives today. We tested this and it worked. I don't know why it's not working now. All right, I'm just going to nod at you, Jacob. Resurrection is not a one-time event. It is a spiritual principle that is alive and active to us that we can tap into and that we can use to change our lives. In the Easter story, may you find your own story and your own hope. Christ in you, your hope of glory. That through that renewing power and presence, that light within you, you can choose to wake up and be resurrected each and every moment. That through the transforming of your consciousness, you can overcome all things. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore said, "Overcoming is a change of mind from error to truth." And we're going to talk more about what he meant by error and what we mean by truth. So crucifixion. Metaphysically, crucifixion is that those moments in our life where life as we know it has come to an end. Maybe it's a sudden loss of any kind. Maybe it's a serious illness that you're facing. Maybe it's feeling completely lost of this, my whole life has been upended and I don't know what to do next. Has anybody experienced a crucifixion moment like that? Yeah. In those moments, we may want to lament, my God, why have you forsaken me?" But Jesus told us, pick up your cross and follow me. In Unity, we view Jesus as our way shower, to show us the way to move through the trials and the challenges of our life with a greater spiritual awareness, with peace, with faith, and with hope. Jesus gave us the roadmap of how to get there. So he demonstrated for us the ultimate overcoming. And that by saying, follow me, he was saying, you too can overcome anything. So sometimes our crucifixion moment, that cross, is thrown onto our shoulders by life, and we feel like we have no control over it. Sometimes we usher in our own crucifixion moment. Sometimes we willingly pick that up. You see, on the spiritual path, in a sincere desire to be transformed, to let go of these old ways of thinking and be resurrected into new life, there are moments where we face this crossroads. Do I drop all this spiritual stuff and go back over here where it was comfortable and easy and familiar? Or do I take that hard road, risk the unknown, and step further into the power and the strength of my divine identity? Can I let go of that old story? Can I let go of those old beliefs and step into something new? It can be painful and gut-wrenching, no matter what way it happens, to find yourself in a crucifixion moment. To grieve the loss of an identity that we used to hold in such high esteem. To grieve something that we used to base our self-worth and worthiness on. Charles Fillmore says that metaphysically, a crucifixion is a crossing out. A crossing out of error thoughts. Error thoughts are anything that is incorrect, according to Charles Fillmore. Anything that is contrary to the capital T truth of who and what you are. So an error thought might be a limiting belief. Oh, I'm not good enough. That's an error thought that you can crucify, that you can cross out. Error thoughts might be those thoughts that are rooted in fear or separation. Thoughts like, oh, God is punishing me because I'm bad. It could also be an internalized thought or belief from culture or from society, like money is the root of all evil. Children are to be seen and not heard. Anything that is contrary to the truth of who and what you are as a divine being is an error thought. And it is our job in consciousness to prune the garden of what is dead in our thoughts and in our consciousness, to prune what is no longer bearing fruit and get rid of it. We have to prune our mental garden to make room for new growth. Crucifixion is a part of the process. So, what is dead and ready to be pruned in your life? What story, what drama are you ready to cross out and let go of? What thought do you no longer want to have power over you and the life that you are creating? What are you ready to be freed from? What are you ready to be raised up from? In Unity, our third principle teaches that it is through our consciousness that we create heaven or hell. That through our consciousness, we condemn ourselves or we free ourselves. You know, some people struggle with Unity teachings, especially affirmations, because they just don't understand. They think that we're lying to ourselves. You say, I am free, but you're a captive. You say, I am prosperous, but you're living in poverty. They don't get it. But what Unity co-founders Charles and Myrtle demonstrated for us, and what so many people before them and so many people after them have demonstrated, is that there is a power in laying hold of a higher spiritual truth, of declaring that truth, of knowing that truth with your entire being, and that somehow that brings it into expression. That our affirmations are not wishful thinking, but a remembrance of the truth. That we are not born in sin, but in original blessing. That being created in the image and likeness of God means that we have access to all that God is. And as God is creator, we too are creators of our own life and our own experience, for better or worse. So it is the work in consciousness that we do to root out these negative thoughts, to pluck out those invasive weeds that are crowding us so we don't have room for that new growth, so that we can be resurrected into a greater expression of the uniqueness of you. So I'll ask again, what story are you ready to be free from? What drama, what belief are you ready to crucify? In Jesus' time in the Roman Empire, it was customary that when they crucified somebody, they hung a sign above their head that specified their crime. Thief, traitor, murderer. Above Jesus' head, they put the words, King of the Jews, an attempt at a final mockery. So what would be the sign above your head? I know we like to think that we've done all the work, that we're not holding on to those old thoughts, that we don't still remember that thing our dad used to say. But if you can be honest with yourself, if you can find the strength and the faith within to be honest with yourself for a moment of what is that thought that is still rooted in your consciousness as much as you would like for it not to be there, what would it be? What would be the sign above your head? What is the scar you're ready to smooth away? What is the condemnation that you hold against yourself? Would your sign say weak? Would it say poor? Would it say old? Would it say dumb? Would it say unlikable? Take a breath. If you're willing, I want you to imagine that word, that condemnation you hold against yourself, right there on that sign. And now pick up your hand and cross it out. Yes. Lay hold of the power of the crucifixion and get rid of it. Cross it out. We are done with that. Control, Alt, Delete. It is over. It is done. It has been crucified. His last words on the cross. It is finished. Let's declare that together. It is finished. I am done with that belief. Together, I am done with that belief. I give no power to that idea. I give no power to that idea. That is not the truth. That is not the truth. So it is. After the crucifixion, Jesus spent 3 days in the tomb. Now the tomb, after we've done that work of crucifying and crossing out that old belief, the tomb is a really necessary time. It's a time where we can sit in a state of non-resistance, of allowing. You've just gotten rid of a piece of your identity that you relied on for so long, a story that drove your life for so many years. It takes time to recover from that. So the time in the tomb is a time of allowing whatever needs to be. A time to care for ourselves. Sometimes in Christianity we hear this term, dark night of the soul. Have you guys heard that term before? The tomb is the dark night of the soul. Something has happened that has changed us, and now we're in this place of where do I go from here? So in the tomb, this is where we ask, who am I now? Who am I now without that old story or that old belief that I let go of? Who am I without the idea of my brokenness? In the tomb, it's dark and it's quiet, and we spend time in the silence. So silence means without noise. But in the teachings of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, silence was spelled with a capital S, and it meant something more than just without noise. For them, silence were those moments, maybe in meditation or prayer, where you're in this kind of liminal space, where you kind of forget that you exist as a separate person and you start to feel the presence of something greater. You start to feel your connection, and you have this indescribable awareness that you can't put into words, that it's okay, that everything's okay, that you're held. That's capital S, silence. Here's what Charles said about it. He said, the highest form of prayer we know is quietly entering the inner chamber within the soul, shutting the door to the external thoughts of daily life, and seeking conscious union with God. For in the silence, Spirit speaks truth to us, and just that truth of which we stand in need. After a crucifixion experience, we need time in the silence to shut out that outer noise that tells us who we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to act, don't you know your place? And spend time with ourselves and with God. And having pruned and weeded that garden of our mind, we wait in what I like to call patient expectation. Patient expectation for the new growth that is emerging, for the promise to be fulfilled. Some of you might remember from a previous talk that a few years ago I crossed out the idea that I had a black thumb and that I killed every plant that came into my care. So my houseplants are all doing well, thank you very much. And I also decided I would start doing some gardening. And so I've been very successful at garlic so far. We're getting there. So every fall, when I plant my garlic, the seeds have been planted, it's covered up. I don't say, I'm hoping for garlic. I don't say, maybe I'll get garlic. I don't even say, garlic or something better. No, I say, I am growing garlic. I am growing garlic. The I am affirmation is a declarative statement of what is spiritually true, even if you don't see the physical evidence yet. All I see is a pile of dirt, but I am growing garlic. And so, in the tomb, in those 3 days, is when we plant the seeds of those I am affirmations. In the tomb, we commune with the truth of who and what we are. We spend time in sacred silence getting to know ourselves anew, and we plant those seeds. We prepare for the abundant growth by using I am. I am strong. I am abundant. I am invigorated with life. I am wise. I am love in human form. And then comes the resurrection. Charles Fillmore says, every time we rise to the realization of eternal, indwelling life, making union with divine mind, the resurrection takes place within us. Resurrection is an awakening. Resurrection is opening your eyes to see a new reality. It is a deep knowing of the spiritual truth that the old you couldn't yet see. Your life may look the same, like that Buddhist saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. But it's all new because you're seeing it with fresh eyes. That having gone through that crucifixion and that time in the tomb, you have a knowing that transcends earthly knowledge, a knowing of the truth of who you are and an emergence into a new life. If you awakened to the truth that you are not weak, but eternally strong, would that be a new life for you? If you knew for a fact that you are abundant, would that be a new life for you? If your consciousness was lifted so that you could see the reality of your inherent worth, would that feel like a resurrection? I know many of you have been working since we did Burning Bowl at the beginning of Lent to transform some of these old beliefs, to journey through this transformation process in the Lenten season. And so I'm wondering if you're ready to celebrate that it is done. Is anybody ready to say, I have risen? Yes. Stand up for me. When you're ready, let's declare it. I have risen. Take a breath. And now like you mean it. I have risen. And so it is. Thank you. So today is Resurrection Sunday, when we remember and celebrate not only Jesus' resurrection, but the spiritual resurrection that takes place within us, that is available to us each and every day. So together we have risen. And so it is.
Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. When Jesus washed. He washed my fears away. Oh, happy day. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, when Jesus was. When Jesus was. When my Jesus was. He washed my fears away. La 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 la. La 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 la. He taught me. Oh, he taught me how to walk, talk and pray. And he taught me how to live rejoicing. Oh, yeah. Every day. Oh, hey. Every day. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. Oh, when Jesus was. When Jesus was. When Jesus was my fears away. I'm talking about a happy day. He taught me how, he taught me how to walk, talk and talk and pray. And he taught me how to live rejoicing. Oh, yeah. Every day. Every day. Happy day. Oh, I'm talking about a happy day. Oh, oh, happy day. Oh, yeah. My happy, happy day. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, happy day.